Hello, thank you for watching this third video in our series explaining satisfactory academic progress, requirements and procedures for Student Care Gateway. This video will go through an in-depth step-by-step process that students will take to submit their SAP appeal and what happens after the appeal is submitted. As a review, satisfactory academic progress are the federal regulations that students must meet in order to continue receiving financial aid based off of their academic success. These requirements are to maintain a minimum 2.0 cumulative grade point average, to successfully complete at least 67% of the credit hours that they've attempted, and to finish their academic program before attempting more than 150% of the credit hours required to complete their declared degree, diploma, or certificate. Again, we go more into depth into these requirements in an earlier video, so if you haven't had a chance to watch that yet, please do. So what is the SAP appeal process? So Gateway understands that students sometimes aren't successful for reasons beyond their own control. And because these unsuccessful semesters can cause a student to no longer be eligible for financial aid, the SAP appeal process is set up for students to explain their situation in order to hopefully have their aid reinstated. So this is the student's opportunity to explain what's happened in the past that prevented them from being successful and what they're going to do in the future to make sure that their circumstances have changed to ensure that they are going to be successful in their future classes, and that if they can continue receiving financial aid, that they'll be doing well in their classes. If their appeal is approved, students will then be eligible to receive financial aid in the following semesters. This includes federal and state grants, as well as the Work Ready Scholarship, which does require that students must be in good standing for financial aid. For the KEYS money in Kentucky, there's no requirement for SAP status, but students do need to meet minimum GPA requirements each year to continue receiving their KEYS money. The SAP appeal is heard by a committee of faculty and staff at Gateway that review the appeals and follow guidelines set by the Department of Education. That committee's decision determines if a student will be eligible to receive financial aid for that next semester. So let's look at what a student actually does to complete the SAP appeal. So remember from our previous videos, students are notified at the end of the semester their SAP status. They're either in good standing or meets, they're in a warning or a probation period, which is called SAP warning, which means their first semester where they didn't meet SAP requirements, or they're SAP suspended. So after 2 consecutive semesters of not meeting requirements, they are suspended, and those are students that need to submit an appeal. So to do the appeal, students will start at My Path and go to Student Self-Service and click on the Financial Aid tile. From there, there will be a link on the left that says SAP Appeal Request, and then it's got some general information about the requirements that students must meet in order to continue getting financial aid. When a student continues, they'll see how those requirements actually match up for themselves. So they'll be able to see their cumulative grade point average, their completion rate, and their maximum time frame number. So basically how many credit hours that they've attempted and how many credit hours that they're eligible to take based off of their declared degree. Next, students will have an overview of some examples of previous circumstances that students have listed for their SAP appeal, and some documentation examples as well that students must complete for those. For example, a student that indicates that they were going through a separation or divorce would be expected to provide a copy of the divorce decree, petition of dissolution, or letter from an attorney to verify that the information listed on their SAP appeal was accurate. Now a student gets to where they actually have a chance to enter their information. So they have 2 prompts that they must complete. The first one explains the situation that led to the student failing to meet their SAP requirements. The second is a plan to make sure students will be successful in the future. We want to make sure that students complete this information as thoroughly as possible. They don't need to write a book. but you want to make sure it's more than a few sentences so the committee has a good understanding of the situation and all the information they need to make a good decision. Think of it this way. For a student, this is your chance to tell the committee your story and why you should be eligible for financial aid. In the situation where you don't type a lot, if you type less than 20 characters, it will give a warning that says you didn't write a whole lot here. Are you sure you want to submit this? As we mentioned earlier, whatever you put into your SAP appeal, the financial aid and SAP committee may request more information based off of what you submit. Like we said with that example for a student going through a divorce or a separation, we will ask for documentation to verify what you write in your appeal is accurate. So once you submit the appeal, that information, whether that communication from the financial aid office will come to you listing what they would like to see and some examples that they can have. As you can see here, examples of documentation may include, but are not limited to, medical records, accident reports, obituaries of family members or loved ones. As a reminder, students that were on SAP suspended status because of maximum time frame, they will also need to complete a plan of action before their appeal is heard. Once the prompts are entered, students will go through these next few steps to verify the semester that they're appealing for, which would be the next semester of enrollment for them. They will verify their contact information and verify their program. That leads to this final student acknowledgement that students will need to submit and click yes before moving on and submitting the SAP appeal. Once the appeal is submitted, it goes to a committee of faculty and staff members. The student will be assigned a financial aid SAP probation status and may be given a plan of action that stipulates certain conditions and academic requirements. Now, this happens if appeal is approved. Students will need to work with their academic advisor to submit that plan of action to make sure that they have all the courses they need for the future to complete their degree. The appeal is good for one term. So students must have a successful term once their appeal has gone through, or else they'll have to do it again. If they have not met the SAP requirements in that next semester, they can go through the same process again. If the appeal is denied, students are not eligible for federal student aid for that next semester, and they will remain ineligible to get financial aid until they either are back in SAP status requirements and they are meeting the requirements, or they've submitted another appeal that's been approved. Again, students can enroll in classes if their appeal was denied or if they're SAP suspended, but they can't get financial aid, so they may have to pay out of pocket for those. And we have a note here that students are responsible for all expenses, such as tuition fees, books, and supplies, pending the decision of the SAP Appeals Committee, and must contact the Business Affairs Office to make arrangements with the college. Decisions made by SAP Appeals Committee are final and not subject to a further appeal. We have more information on our website about instructions, submission deadlines, and other information that you may want to look into as well. We hope this information was helpful, either for you as a student or a faculty and staff member to help a student through the process, to see the steps that a student must take in order to get through the process and hopefully get their financial aid back on track and be eligible to receive it, as well as getting back in good standing academically. Thanks for reviewing, and again, we hope you found this information helpful.